Who?
Second.
I said Sunday when I told you about it.
The entire Democrat, basically, caucus in Congress literally bent the knee to George Floyd and to Black Lives Matter. Like, they quite literally did that.
And that was a bad thing?
I think it was a stupid thing.
Wow, what's the name of this video?
I mean,
Let's see if we go figure it out.
what?
Oh yeah, he on the phone or something. I don't know.
Because it's an open giant panel. Oh, you're watching? No, you're supposed to see it normal on Discord too.
Are they filming us for like B-roll?
Stand by. All right, here we go. You guys feeling ready?
It's happening.
Hi, and welcome to our conversation about what it means to be Asian American. I'm Krishna. My parents came here from India. I was born here. So I identify as South Asian American or Asian American. And I just wanted to call out that, you know, we're talking about the largest continent on the planet with multiple countries, ethnicities, sub-ethnicities within it. So we did our best to try to get a diverse mix of opinions and backgrounds on this panel, but you can't get everyone's opinion. So as we start, I want to get a quick poll. How many of you guys think the term Asian American is useful?
Well, I'll change him into the
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got a couple 50-50s. What about if we were to add Asian American Pacific Islander?
Oh, yeah, do it close. I know see the close.
I guess
The same thing you was talking about the strip of BIPOC. What's the other one?
Beam, something like that.
Right, Beam, BIPOC. That other our next one. Besides it was just POC, BIPOC and Beam.
Brother, you're black. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Not talking about the making simple things complicated.
They're how Americans are. Except for capitalism, though. I love capitalism.
BIPOC. Hey, whatever.
BIPOC and Beam.
curious to hear why, and maybe the way we can do that is going around the room and talking about who we are, where we came from, and what that term means to us, and what you think it might mean to the rest of the world. So,
I'm Yiling, and I would identify myself as an Asian American. I feel really strongly about being an immigrant. I'm first gen, or I say first and a half gen, because I was born in China, and then we immigrated to New York, and then to San
Operation Olympics.
She's our first gen.
Francisco. And I think that like the term Asian American is complicated because it applies to so many different identities, ethnicities, and cultures. It's a helpful term when you don't really know what else to kind of.
She's looking black in the back there, orange, cheeky glass.
She Asian.
They born in the country, but they come.
Are you singing so, dog?
Singing how?
Like in a BRL.
Yeah, that's my line.
Nah, you say barrel. BRL and barrel is two different things.
I sorry now, buddy.
You oppressing, man.
Punching down.
kind of just like lump everybody into like one term, and I don't think there's any issue with it being Asian American and Pacific Islander either, because that's just more inclusive in my opinion.
So there's a sense of
what?
Don't and face punch on minorities.
Yes, I agree.
You wait.
Especially,
you
don't want to say that. I'm being good tonight. Let the intrusive thoughts stay inside for the most part.
You gonna watch it, you not gonna mean nothing.
Eh?
You want to go right back down into your tendencies.
Hey, it's the Catholic Sabbath, so I'll be good for us.
No.
community amongst people from different cultures.
No, you see, now I had to save it up for tomorrow, since tomorrow is Carnival Monday. So I had to keep it in so I could be revelry tomorrow. Apex new Apex season.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because like you can't really put it into words. It's applicable to such a wide range of things, and like, you know, we're not a monolith.
It's complex.
Yes.
Yovan?
I was born in Manila, Philippines.
Interesting. And what does that heritage mean to you?
You know, I'm a little conflicted because sometimes I just want to be American. I don't want to specify the fact that I'm Asian, but at the same time, it's like someone looks at you, they're going to say that you're Asian, so you say you're Asian American. I don't like the idea of separating the Pacific Islander just because for so long I was told I wasn't Asian that
American is not a race. Trinidadian is not a race. Oh my word.
Just don't care.
It's not a race. It's a suffix to properly identify who you are.
Yeah.
Country you're living in. Sorry, your nationality is the prefix. Your race is the suffix. Alright? So you want to break it down. Jeez, you are Asian. People are going to look at you and you're going to see Asian.
I don't get it.
Yes,
I mean,
you're living in America, you're American Asian. That's okay. But you're Asian us.
Yeah. I say, as you ain't talking about the complex and trying to make a simple thing complex. Why?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So he commit a crime, right? So they say he commit a crime against a woman. If she pulls away by the cases, the woman describing the man. Oh, he's American. Yeah, what does he look like? He's American.
Oh God. Oh God. All this way, boy. As soon as I started to do this thing, started to message me. Yeah, I'm like, put my phone on silent. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You got your boots?
Yeah, this weird, complicated, trying to overcomplicate a simple. I started a video where there was this was a joke video that's showing that you can't say it's not offensive to describe the person. You can't say a white man, you can't say a black man, you can't say a Chinese, whatever. I mean, you had to get that to make a base. Oh gosh, an outline of who you're looking at, right? So you say, all right, the man committed the crime. All right, the man was Asian, possibly Japanese, right? You have piercings, kind of buff, about 5'7", because I can't go above that. Now to describe here. Besides saying chunky eye, puffy cheeks, he have a button on the chin. He wearing a black polo, whatever. You have to describe what this person look like, otherwise the crime could possibly go unsolved. You catch a fire there.
That I was a Pacific Islander. I just think it's all encompassing we are Asian.
Micah.
I feel very prideful about the Asian Pacific Islander. I live in San Diego now, but I'm originally from Honolulu, Hawaii, and my dad's born and raised from Kona. I am so close with my family. Just growing up, it's hard to explain, but being from Hawaii, like the aloha spirit is real. Being around your family, having that common courtesy for community is just something that I'm really proud of.
And you feel like, as it relates to Asian American and Pacific Islander, these are two things that kind of go together in some ways?
Yeah, they do. They do.
How?
So the thing about Hawaii is that it's a really huge collection of different types of ethnicities, and there's a lot of Asian influence in Hawaii as well. A lot of different people who are there are from Korea, China, Japan, and so I just consider them family as well.
Tell me about yourself, Vince.
Genetically, I'm a quarter Italian, 75% Vietnamese, but I am really with Teddy Roosevelt on this one. I don't believe in the hyphenated American thing. I identify as American. I consider myself an American. Sure, genetically, I'm mostly Asian. I don't go around thinking I'm an Asian American, because I think that, especially considering the fact that America today is increasingly a more and more diverse country, which is what it is, the only way that's going to hold together is if people can, to some extent, all identify as being part of the same nation, part of the same creed to an extent. I mean, that's just the way I would view it.
Vish, you're up.
I'm 100% Hindu Indian American. I was born in Brooklyn. My parents are from India. I personally just describe myself as American. I find, like Vince said, you know, the hyphenated American thing, I think it's by definition divisive when you're dividing the identity. I prefer to call myself American. I don't call myself Indian American, Asian American, though when people ask, like, oh, well, what are you? I'll say, well, I'm of Indian heritage, but I was born in Brooklyn.
Yes, sir.
I proudly identify as Asian American. I also like my experience.
Okay,
my mom is from Japan. She immigrated to America. So I do truly feel that I am a part of the Asian American experience where, you know, at home, it's a Japanese household. It's a Japanese culture because I was predominantly also raised by my mom too. And then also we happen to live in a
That is some real stereotypical living slip in the black father left.
You what?
I said the black father left.
Okay. Oh, you know that? She see that?
She said she was raised predominantly by she mother, so assuming that the father left. Okay, I'm gonna say next thing man dead.
But then again, at the same time, if you ask a lot of these Japanese women, apparently they like foreign men.
You like big cock.
A lot of Nigerians too, apparently. No, serious. I was watching a video the other day, and they were saying that, like, they were asking, just interviewing the women, and they was like, all right, they typically like foreign men. Right? Typically like foreign men. But when you check, like, who the mixed people are, that was the videos you were watching the other day with the Koreans. The black Koreans, people who living in Korea and all these things, and they were talking, and they were saying, the Korean women, they like, no, it wasn't a video, I lie, I take it back.
You was talking about the passport, bro, thing.
No, it wasn't that.
No, I'm just saying that. It reminded me of that.
Oh.
Because you just see it like the day.
Passport bros back in the day. Right? They were saying, no, not they were saying, but but the question was asked, like, what is the ethnicity of your parents? Typically, the mother was Japanese, and the father was some variation of black.
Somebody with big cook.
From America, the black from America, or black from Africa, or some other part of the world, but they were typically like Nigerian men in that video then. I don't know if it's like that across the board, but time to go Japan, boys.
You go thrive there.
in America.
I want to see that ass. Weak in the knees, what you talking about?
And all of them come and touch it up.
You end up like Nahir here.
Who's Nahir?
I thought this was Nahir. I can't remember he named the bald head man.
Wow. Wow.
And I think there is a very unique perspective in that. As well as I'm a proud Asian American, I'm a proud Black American. I'm a proud biracial American. And I think there is definitely also a need for us to be able to say Asian American, especially because we are often seen as not American or not American enough. But then you go back to Asia, and they're like, oh, you're so American. So it's just like, well, who am I?
Being between cultures in a way, or straddling cultures, being part of two cultures.
Yeah, being part of two cultures.
I'm Asian,
I'm American, I'm Asian American.
Well, nice to meet you. Joyce.
So I'm a Taiwanese Asian American.
Gosh, that
I
voice.
identify as Asian American, but at the same time, I think the term Asian American and Asian Pacific Islander, they have to be separated because when we go to colleges and apply to get in, we're on different socioeconomic pathways. So actually the term Asian Pacific Islander would actually get you in more than someone just does East Asian, because I believe now they separate the two.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there, and I think that's what we'll try to do today. But it's good to meet you. I guess this is a funny question, but like, do you think the average American, when meeting you, would be like, oh yeah, you're Taiwanese?
No, they think I'm Chinese. Japanese or Korean, but basically I'm Asian. They always ask where am I from because of the way I look.
And they ask like, where are you really from?
Yes, yes. And I'm like, always, I'm American.
I get that a lot too. Ellen.
Hi, my name is Ellen. I'm Korean American. I came from Korea when I was 8 years old, got on a plane by myself, not speaking a word of English. Didn't know white people were real. For me, it was a huge culture shock. My parents had already immigrated, so I was joining them. I like to be identifying myself as a Korean American woman, and I recognize the importance of Asian American Pacific Islander. Definitions are always constantly changing as we as society constantly evolving. I don't like to just consider myself American because when anybody in this country looks at me, they don't just see American. They always see Asian first. Instead of using that
what you go constitute as American then? Hillbilly.
American is not a race. But for the optics of it, American is typically white, rather than Native American as it should be. But I digress. That whole other conversation. Not about to manifest anyone's destiny up in here.
Hillbilly with my shotgun.
Typically white. But America is now a race. You just have to sign in a race, a color, a race to a nationality. So when they say Asian is actually what? A nationality?
But fall on that kind of continental thing.
Asia doesn't actually, like, the name Asia exists for a continent, but it's not really a country. So you could say you come from Asia. So I could see when they divide Asian because they have so many Asian countries.
Yeah.
Typically just have one black country, which is Africa. And then the Caribbean and all of these other places we could talk about after. But it's too much. You are Asian, McGill. You're good looking too, I guess. There you
go. That holds me back. I say it proudly. And it's taken time to accept my identity, to really know that that's sort of an umbrella term to open the door into the conversation. I know it's not possible to encompass all of us because Asia's so big, right? But in order for us to be seen and heard, we have to start somewhere. So I think it's a good term.
He looking like the dude from
I'm Ziad. You see him.
The action. Oh gosh, I forget the name of that movie. It was a kind of a karate movie. It was real bad, boy. We looking like that dude. He was in, I think, in John Wick as well. We're going to be in John Wick. I don't know, it's a real good movie.
Pronouns, and I am Bangladeshi American, and I'm Asian American. The reason why I, is
this dude here, you tell my green shirt.
Deadpool, the taxi driver.
Besides that.
Okay, never mind.
It have is a kind of police thing with karate or whatever, Muay Thai. Yeah. Man, I'm mute up. You don't know the movie.
Summon him.
The name right here, I seen the post in my mind, but I just can't remember the name of it. I can remember it eventually. Hey, go ahead, Ahmed.
Warm about the term Asian American insofar as its usefulness is that I don't actually often refer to myself as Asian American despite like fully believing that I am, because to Yuling's point, oftentimes I think people have a perception of what Asian American looks like, right? And sometimes that leaves out South Asian, sometimes that leaves out Central Asian, sometimes that leaves out huge parts of the world. Me personally, like I lean into my hyphenated identities, right? I am American and I am Muslim and I am Bangladeshi and I am Asian, right? And I am all of these things at once, and I'm not one more than the other, but I take pride in all of these things. And I think that for me, I find power in that insofar as when I look at this country, I think it is so damaging, right? So saddening that sometimes this country makes us choose.
I mean, what you point out is that we kind of all have a dual consciousness or are dual citizens of this country and the world, which is to say we go home, we might have a different culture, a different food, a different language that we speak. We go to school. And we have friends who might not share or understand what that language culture is. And we have a desire to both be true to the heritage, but then also be accepted, successful, and otherwise in the non-Asian American world that we live in. Assimilation. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it a burden? Is it an opportunity?
Assimilation, I think I would define that as, in part, I think necessary to an extent because we are forced to in order to navigate this country. So I would say learning the language, learning how to properly behave, for example. That's in part kind of assimilation, making sure that you are
in line.
kosher in this society. And I think in part that means survival.
I think assimilation is not just a great thing, it's a necessary thing. No society can hold together where people have nothing in common, they don't speak the same language, they don't practice the same things. And you may look at something like just food habits or what you eat and think that's fairly frivolous, but the truth of the matter is that on a broader level, when we're talking about more big picture things, differences in race, culture, religion, all these things, people have fought wars, violent wars, killed each other over these things for thousands of years. If America is to hold together, assimilation, not just good or bad, necessary. I don't think it's going to be possible for America to survive as a stable, functioning society if people don't, to some degree, say, well, here's what we're going to commonly agree upon.
But who gets to choose it?
The majority culture, I suppose.
And what's majority culture?
The people with power.
And who's people with power?
Who's people with power?
White people.
Well, I don't know if that's.
I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
White people. It's okay.
I don't know if that's necessarily so true. I mean,
wait, can you unpack?
I don't
elaborate.
I don't think a particularly white quote unquote interest controls things like
in America.
Pop culture.
Do you believe white supremacy exists?
I think there are people who believe in it. I think there's people who all believe that their race is superior.
So you don't believe in white supremacy?
Do you believe America is a white supremacist state?
No, not at all.
And not found.
No white supremacist state would even allow us to be doing this. I don't understand. It's a white supremacist. There's just KKK people walking. Actually, I go around New York City. I notice that, I guess Brooklyn a little bit different. Most of the people here are not white, and they're doing their thing. So I don't understand.
What does doing their thing mean to you?
Going to work.
Are they making the same amount of money? Are they getting the same access to opportunities?
I think they're getting great access to opportunity.
Please unpack it. Are they equivalent? Are communities and communities that are leading culture, to your point, because you pointed to popular culture as something where, in your view, white people don't have the power, when the reality is it is the white executives who are profiting off of and exploiting predominantly black and brown bodies for their financial gain to then parade to us and tell us that we're thriving, when the reality is it is women of color, and it is black folks, and it is Asian American folks, it is Hispanic folks, and it is people from marginalized communities who are disproportionately being impacted by every adverse thing that society is facing, while the few at the top who don't represent our communities are profiting. There are massive disparities based on race, based on class, based on gender, based on all of these things that shouldn't exist.
Well, nobody denies.
Did he write it down and rehearse that to see that like that?
Probably say it up. It's probably repeated up 1,000 times.
Because I ain't gonna lie, that was plenty words just to say nothing though. That was a lot of words to say nothing. Yes, I'm oppressed. I'm out here doing an interview, being oppressed in this interview right here. What is this, a panel, a debate? I've been oppressed in this debate. I walk in the streets normal. And when he bring up this dude, I saw the clips with this dude here, bring up some statistics. Where, I don't want to spoilers. So you gotta watch that thing, but bruh, oppression Olympics, stop it, get some help. Stop being oppressed. Well, stop saying you're oppressed. You're not. You actually have a pretty nice life.
Is that there's disparities or that
well, let's have Vince respond.
Or that I think the question is, do they exist because of supposed white supremacy? And when I look at the fact that, virtually every corporation and institution bends the knee to diversity, celebrates every single Heritage Month, has all these programs, every single one toe the line for Black Lives Matter. I don't look at that and say, I don't look at that and say conservative white people.
Hey, who's Vince, boy?
What?
Oh, Vince shut him up before and continue talking.
Pull back twice. I see you looking on.
Heritage Month, has all these programs, every single one toe the line for Black Lives Matter. I don't look at that and say, I don't look at that and say conservative white people are in power in this country. As a matter of fact, I'd argue to a large extent, you can talk about, what race or whatever people are, but it's like a supposedly conservative white interest in power in America. I would honestly say I think it's the opposite of that.
I want to clarify one thing. You can be liberal and still a white supremacist, right?
Yes.
Like, I would be very clear,
Absolutely.
right? That it doesn't necessarily mean conservative white power is the predominant folks in power. I think it could span a lot of political ideologies and still have these things embedded in how you govern and how you lead and how you make decisions. However, when you talk about bending the knee, that is a wild way, I think, to look at society finally trying, in some ways, to right the wrongs of its ills.
It's not so wild. I mean, even like your supposedly white politicians, you look at what they did in 2020, they quite literally bent their knee. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, the entire Democrat, basically, caucus in Congress, literally bent the knee to George Floyd and to Black Lives Matter. Like, they quite literally did that.
And that was a bad thing?
I think it was a stupid thing. I think it was just ridiculous pandering to a terrorist movement ran by.
Black lives do not matter?
I do think that Black Lives Matter. I don't support the movement known as Black Lives Matter.
Do you ever say all lives matter?
Of course. As a Christian, I absolutely believe
all lives matter.
Absolutely.
Well, let me put this back into some more concrete terms. So I guess to try to understand the conflict here that you guys are having, what role do you think Asian Americans have as far as the larger injustice?
I'll go back and think, but I don't get. As I say, the oppression thing, the want to be oppressed, right? Like Black Lives Matter, and All Lives Matter nonsense, right? I don't know how long ago it was. Somebody posed the question with the same Black Lives Matter thing. So the question I asked was, all right, okay, yes, Black Lives Matter. But doesn't matter more than all lives or everybody else's lives. And the answer to that was, we didn't get an answer to that because they started twirling in circles. And I can't remember which, and it was Jordan Peterson, boy. How to find that one? And the things they said, I'm see if I can remember one what they said. One was saying that is not what they say, they still didn't give an answer. So it's like yes, but to me it's a yes or no question. Does it matter? Black lives matter more than the rest of everybody's lives.
Yes, but the point of the protest was to highlight the stuff that was happening, what would happen to a couple black people and then black people in general. So yeah, I think I understand what they mean. At that point, yes. Just the focus should be on them. But when you come with white lives matter or all lives matter, you kind of take away from what the people are trying to do. Yes, they took it to a very, how to put it, an extreme point where it became like its own entity. The BLM itself became like its own entity rather than just what it actually stood for. So I think when the punching down came, people started saying white lives matter and all lives matter. It started forming into this kind of, and it kind of get corrupted in a sense. So people start take off form onto itself, and it started run the way it is now, rather than being an entity for, hey, this happened, we standing up against this.
Still doesn't.
You can't say anything against it.
Still doesn't warrant burning down cities and stuff like that.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
It was understandably. I could see where they come from, right? You're saying things like, police that shoot black people first and then ask questions later, and no what they call repercussions for them doing that nonsense, right? And to me, the whole Black Lives Matter, to me, is a conundrum, you could say it is, in the sense that it kind of balloon black people had to say
yeah,
they're more important than everybody else now.
Yes, and like I said, just to interject quickly, to say that it did balloon, but it ballooned in such a way that they ignoring what they were initially standing for.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
But yeah, I was going to say exactly that.
You're welcome. So yeah, it kind of balloon to become this kind of...
Yeah, and they just missed the entire mark.
Yeah.
And it just...
I understood... Go ahead. I understood the the backlash was warranted when people start saying all lives matter and Black Lives Matter because not Black Lives Matter, all lives matter and white lives matter because it took away from what these people were protesting against. Taking the spotlight or what they're taking away from what they were trying to highlight by saying that. So I understand to some extent, but at the end of the day, all lives really do matter. Regardless if you're white or you're not white.
Yeah, because I'd say, but if you look at like crimes, you look at crimes, for example. Well, this is somewhat them. I want to go and see statistics, but the statistics say, well, as of I think oh gosh, why are they messaging me? Leave me alone.
No.
Oh gosh, I forget what it was. Right, like white, it have a lot of white and white crime. Nobody seen none about that. Have a lot of black and black crime. Nobody really seen none about that. But as soon as there's white on black, is an issue. But when it's black on white, it just kind of shoved to the side. So it is such a, as I say, they get big head, the misty mark, and they don't want to see anything but black people, especially in punishment, in terms of punishment, like, oh boy, Juicy Smollett. Juicy Smollett. Dave Chappelle, I don't even know how to see his name since Dave Chappelle call him Juicy. The dude who fake the MAGA thing.
Oh, when he get licks in New York or something, so
yeah.
He said 2 Nigerians appear out of nowhere.
Yeah. No, he said two white people with MAGA hats.
Oh, right. Okay. I think I was quoting Dave Chappelle just now.
Now that was what happened. The 2 Nigerians beat him up, yeah. But he said it was 2 white people. At least he could have hired 2 white people to do that. They might have believed you a little bit. But yeah, when he was supposed to get punishment for that, a lot of people was lobbying, oh, he shouldn't get punished for that. I mean, you lie, you make up a whole thing, and you try to make up a big whole narrative. Fake, yes. What the hell going on down there? I think you shouldn't be lobbying, especially for crimes. A lot of people, I'm trying to remember who it was. A man killed the woman. I don't know if you ever see this one where the woman was trying to help this youth man. He ain't youth man, but I don't want to say youth man. He was an adult. He was somewhere in his 20s. And he was going through something. I don't know if it was a breakup or something. And he was tripping off. And she kept calling the police, whoever, and they was doing nothing about it. Bear in mind, she's a black woman. He's a black man. And push come to shove, dude took up a gun and was shooting in she apartment with she and she child inside there. And she retaliated and ended up killing him. No. The police came and he was shooting at the police as well. The police shoot back and kill him. And everybody was against the woman for calling the police. Right? She was the only one who was trying to help the boy. But only when he come and died, the blaming, the saying, oh, you're wicked, you should not call the police. And people are treating she like she and she child life don't matter. The police should not kill the dude who was shooting at them. Yeah, he was tripping off. The police don't know that. But your life in danger, you take action, and the police did a rightful job of eliminating a threat.
Right.
Because he was a threat. Yeah, the life was in danger. This person was shooting at them. So they fire back to kill him. And the entire neighborhood was against this poor woman. because they're saying, oh, the police should lose the job because they killed the dude. But
interesting.
It was such a wild story. I want to find out one. A real wild story. Because I was like, the woman life in danger. Woman, she and she child. Yes, and it's showing the show all the birthmarks and the impact when they went to the apartment. And they're showing all that. And she was begging the neighbors for help. And nobody would help she. So she called the police. And the police come. And he was shooting at them. And then the turn on she. That's so weird. That's probably one of the weirdest story I ever come across with this whole Black Lives Matter thing. That a man could literally, black people could literally commit a crime.
Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, it was. No, it was for Black Lives Matter. They came out and saying that how the police had lost their work because they eliminate an actual armed suspect that was shooting at them. But they can't footage everything. That this dude was, and they tried to disarm him at first, but he was sporadic and he started to fire shots, so they just offload on it. As they should.
Food for the lions. Prosperity.
Justices and racism that this country has exhibited and has pushed it forward in the 200 years prior to even our arrival. But I guess the easiest way to make it something to talk about is the concept of the model minority myth. When you hear that word, what does it mean to you?
So the model minority myth, after World War II, they used us to separate other people of color. They used our race to say that we were the best race, that we were the model minority because we were the smartest, we got the best jobs, we did these things, and we were able to assimilate to what their idea of what they wanted. They wanted an example to use of people of color that they could then use against all the other people of color. And what they also did is they caused infighting between our communities so that we wouldn't look at the actual problem, which was white supremacy. When I think of the model minority myth, I grew up wanting to be white. I fucking hate that about myself. Like, it is so embarrassing.
Okay, so statistically, it is true that Asians, right, on average, make more money, in terms of medium, make more money, better test scores, get into better colleges, all that stuff. I think the question is, why is that? And I don't know, model minority, whatever that label wants to mean.
That's actually a myth because we cannot be...
Well, no, listen. Well, let me finish my point. We need to observe what makes people successful and unsuccessful. I think when you look at trends that are generally true in the Asian community, not of everyone, but are generally true, usually you have families that are sticking together. You have, people are taught to work hard in school, not get into trouble. I think that translates to why Asians en masse are successful. And I don't think you have to be Asian or white for that matter to not have kids out of wedlock, not, commit crime, not cause trouble or whatever it is. It's just a matter of common sense. That's what makes people successful. And if that's so-called assimilation, having a nuclear family, buying a house, going to school, whatever it is, then yeah, okay, call me a pro-assimilation then.
I think there's a difference between assimilation and erasure.
Yes.
The way that you're kind of going about it seems like, okay, of course, we want to be in community with people. And I don't think there's a problem with being in community with people from different backgrounds. That's not the issue. It's also embracing the diversity that we inherently have and accepting that and being okay with that and celebrating that.
That's very idealistic, I think, but I think we should acknowledge the fact that diversity, quote unquote, is not a factor that is our strength. It's not a factor that historically or even in the current strengthens societies. People don't come together, form societies, form families, form communities because they have nothing in common. They come together and do those things because they have something in common, right?
You talk about race in such black and white terms. The way you talk about it is it's either with America, whatever your definition of America, or not. You're talking in very black and white terms, and that's actually the problem in discussing race.
Can't be black and white?
Because we're Asian Americans, we're neither black, we're neither white. When you're having a race discussion, you can't be talking about in such lines. Yeah. Everything is in the gray.
The more in common that a society has with one another, the more likely they are to work together and build things in society and not constantly be fighting each other and at odds with each other.
Did you think the Japanese internment was a good thing? Because that was a real assimilation situation. You know what I mean?
No,
Do you recognize that the term assimilation has negative history and facts associated with that word? So we do have to be careful in how we choose, because assimilation for people of color have not been good to us historically. That's factual. So let me ask you.
We're discussing the model minority myth and the fact
Japanese
that
internment is a classic example of assimilating Asian Americans.
No,
so
it's not. It's a classic example of internment. I mean, they intern people.
Why?
Yes.
Why did they that to?
Why did they intern them? Because they saw them as other. Because they saw them as dangerous.
Not really. Well, yes, they saw them as dangerous because, and I don't agree with it. But left-wing president FDR at the time saw it as a national security risk.
So you're a Republican, right?
So
you're right-wing, right?
I want to make sure that we move this way and keep talking about it. And thank you for all the passion on this. And I think there's a lot to unpack. Joyce, tell me about your feelings about the model minority myth. What does it make you think about?
For me, like, I don't think race should be an issue in anything. Like, when we want to make a decision, we should not put race as a factor. Living in New York City, we're the melting pot of the world, so I haven't actually experienced any of these biases. And if we keep continuing to live on, remembering how history was, we're never going to move further. So I identify myself as American. And in this country, it's the only country where a homeless person can be a millionaire the next day. So based on capitalism, we all have an opportunity, and we should not use race as a factor in either getting ahead or depriving ourselves of opportunities.
I have a question directly related to the fact that you live in New York, right?
Yeah.
And you're an Asian woman. There have been significant high crimes towards Asian women that were all over the news. Did that affect you? And what were your thoughts on that?
The government is telling us that it's Asian hate, but that's not the real issue. The real issue is actually that these people were mentally ill and they were let out.
Or both can be the issue, right?
Yeah,
it can simultaneously exist as issues.
You can't say that it's Asian hate and use that as propaganda.
Propaganda?
I feel like also to just say that these people are mentally ill is a kind of an ableist argument too, because there's plenty of people who are mentally ill who are not going out and killing like Asian people on the street.
Oh my God! Do people understand? Do people understand that?
Yes,
all right.
Yes. When the rage flow through you.
It's so weird to be that, all right, you have a discussion on a panel, right? And the woman telling you, hey, this is exactly what's going on inside here. I live in it. No, you don't live in it. No. Yeah.
So
you don't see that?
It goes back to the question of, does facts invalidate experience?
No, but she's telling him what happened, and she get purple hair, big brain, 40-year-old.
Whoa, why is she 40?
Because I do my research.
She get the chance to blaze and try again, she though.
How she making that?
Is the process of getting blaze and trying?
How she getting that? Anyway, right? She was. I can't remember her name already. I don't forget her name. I forget everybody's name. Other woman was saying, was about to explain why she said that they released the mental people and she cut you off before she could finish what she's saying. And if you go and look it up, that is actually a factual statement. So it's not just, all right, facts and the facts and experience thing is she experiencing the facts.
Oh, I see. So she's invalidating herself. No? Yes.
If you want to say that. But she experienced the facts and you tell her she know what the stream crash?
I see.
Oh, okay. I thought stream crash, yes. Oh, I was lagging. I'm not so.
Okay. Yeah, we have some lag spikes. You know.
Strange. Yeah, oh gosh, woman explain what's going on now.
All these attacks that you're seeing the videos of in San Francisco, New York City, newsflash, they're not being prosecuted as hate crimes. So the more correct way to look at it is what is the primary perpetrator of violence against Asians overall, right? Because if we talk about these videos, we have to count them in the statistics, and we're not doing that. And when we do that, we find, well, I'll tell you this, the plurality top perpetrator of violence against Asians, number one, is not happening in rural America, and number two, is not being done by white people.
So is it black people that are doing it? Like, is it the black and brown people that are doing it?
No, that's exactly
just inherently violent. Like,
just say it. I didn't say that. All I said
beat
was,
around it. Just say it.
And if it's not white people or Asian people, who is it?
All I said, I didn't say anything about, inherently violent. All I said is that if it's
now you did.
If it's
no one accused you of that, and now you did.
If it's a white...
So, like, your bias is slipping out there.
It's clear you want to say it. You should just say it.
Can anyone let me talk here?
When it comes to Asian hate, the perpetrator is not a white supremacist in New York.
Correct. That's all I'm saying.
So that's the
all
problem.
That I'm saying.
Like, we don't want to blame one race for violence when that's actually not true.
Is it white people? Is it white people?
It is white people.
Are these attacks happening
It is white
in
people.
rural-
I literally looked up statistics.
You do not have to be white to perpetuate white supremacy. No one's saying it's not hard.
You don't, actually.
You
had white people marching for the BLM marches too. Like saying, I'm black. I'm not racist, sorry, but I have black friends because I have black friends.
What's not? What's going on here? Oh, come on, the thing crashed. I couldn't tell this thing. I know, I might cut off, meant Wi-Fi just cut off.
I want my money back. Yeah.
Okay, Wi-Fi come back on. Why just do that? That's so strange. I'll update this after stream too.
Hard to govern a heterogeneous society, but it is the people.
It is white people.
Are these attacks happening
It is white people. I literally looked up statistics.
You do not have to be white to perpetuate white supremacy. No one's saying it's not hard to govern a heterogeneous society, but it is possible to do a lot better than the way that we're fucking doing it right now. It's like we've banked on this myth of white adjacency more than this model minority myth of like, instead of aligning ourselves with the black community who've been fighting for racial justice and liberation, right, and acknowledging our own privilege and putting our bodies on the line to fight for these movements, instead we banked on white adjacency, and here we are still being pushed.
First of all, what exactly is white adjacency? Is it working hard, having families?
I don't
understand what the issue is. But then number two, let me finish my point. I think it is gaslighting when, again, the majority of violent attacks against Asians are not being perpetrated by white people to blame white supremacy.
White supremacy as a construct is this idea like that the norm of American is whiteness.
Yes.
That whiteness is the default.
Standard.
That whiteness is the standard that we all ought to aspire to. And we
it's not just talking about KKK. It's not talking about lynch.
What's the whiteness doing? What whiteness you talking about? That's what Vince just asked. What's the whiteness? All green shirt here just say whiteness. No, you see, ask what it is. What is perpetuating? Wait, it is. Let me know. I want to know. I want to know right now. I'm confused.
Next. Once you're confused, our job here is complete.
Let's get some water. I see John. You gonna jump up or?
Maybe.
You went down like mud.
It's about a mentality that we have absorbed.
I'm gonna interrupt for a second. Yuling, what's going through your head right now?
Model minority myth, if I'm not wrong, I actually think that Asian Americans did create that first and foremost to push the notion that we are dangerous away. First to say that like, no, we belong here because I promise you we will not cause harm to you. And that has trickled down now into becoming almost a curse. Historically was used first to be like, we're not dangerous, we're American, we are American. But later on it has moved into this sort of weaponized term / almost like idea concept where we get to say like, oh, because we are model minority, like we're not like dangerous and we're not this. And I think about this a lot with class, like a lot of Asian women who are sex workers. Who are we actually taking into account when we think about model minority? And I think that that term really applies to a very specific amount, or that idea of what that looks like is very specific. Because when I think of the Asian Americans that I know, I don't think that they're worried about whether or not they look like model minority. I think they're just trying to survive.
Vish, I see you percolating over there. What's going through your brain?
I don't understand why everybody's so hurt about like being described as a model minority. For me, it's like, well, I want to be the best. I want to be the smartest. I want to be the toughest. The model minority thing, I've never thought about it because I'm too focused on trying to be a model American.
When I say the word stop Asian hate, what does it mean to you?
Scam.
I agree.
Why?
I see it as the same way as the BLM organization. It's just
yes. Talk to him.
Go back there, 10 seconds.
Ask him what stop Asian hate stand for. He says scam.
Wait.
Like BLM.
The model minority thing, I've never thought about it because I'm too focused on trying to be a model American.
When I say the word stop Asian hate, what does it mean to you?
Scam.
I agree.
Why?
I see it as the same way as the BLM organization. It's just a cudgel meant to divide Americans on racial, racialized language and racialized ideas that are not really congruent with reality. The Stop Asian Hate movement, makes a big fuss about white supremacy. So I find that to be a scam in a similar way that BLM makes a boogeyman out of cops and white people and white supremacy and all that. It's all the same language and all the same sort of ideas that are being used to divide Americans and basically put Asians in fear of something that I personally do not think exists.
Who agrees with Vish?
No, I don't.
Raise your hands up high. Let's hear it. Why?
I mean, I agree with everything he says because they're basically weaponizing it and making us victims, but we're not victims. We have friends that are of different races. If you start to use the word hate, hate will continue. Hate is a very strong word.
So even when it's stop Asian hate, you're still like, wait, it has Asian hate in here, and we should not even consider it as a serious thing?
It's divisive.
Well, it's...
All right. And that's how she come from with that. Right? Like, you have an issue. Right, say in a community have an issue, and like I said, they're trying to as much solve the issue within the community. But then now you come with big set of cameras and thing, and you start to broadcast this thing to the world. Now it will obviously have a bad. Now we're gonna bring some more bad apples that people might want to go to this place and commit crime now because they realize it have a certain issue inside it, or they want to go into that community to do good because they realize they have a certain issue inside it. Then the two groups go and crash that coming to do. Well, I won't say they come to do good. They come to pretend to do good. They come and they say they're going to protest or whatever, and telling them the people inside the village that they're trying to solve the issue. That right, are they oppressed? We come here to take over for all now.
What we talk about?
Like it's so weird, cause the same thing basically BLM do. The step over and say, right, be relax a little, especially the youth, the white youths come and say, right. All right, black people, step aside. We come to take all the oppression now.
Oh no! Don't tell them that.
And it did happen. It was happening. So I can understand why you wouldn't want to broadcast certain things because it does. I think this causes more problems than going on. Than the people who trying to solve it for themselves, because it's going to end up being too much pressure from sides. Like sides go and clash, and especially like Black BLM, and then people come and say, "White life matter" or "All life matter," and then how see it come and clash again. So it make a bigger issue than actually try to solve the issue at heart. It just make more issue because the broadcast is big and everybody want to take part and people start to feel left out because only them people matter. And seriously, I say, only them people matter. I want to be part of something too. So they're going to jump in white life matter or life matter. And more issue ensues.
They're saying white lives don't matter. Sorry. Is not having a white lives matter inherently racist versus having a white lives matter being racist?
I think people go make a problem either or. But right, in terms of logically, I don't think any of them should exist. We should forget all these skin colors and stuff like that and try to work together to make a better community and society. The more that anyway.
Very idealistic stance.
Right, I just saying, right? Yes, idealistic, right? But in terms, like, people just want to, especially the, I want to call them liberals.
Call them liberals.
The radical left, they just want to preach things like, oh God, I forget what I was going with this. What you was talking about?
You know. Just punching down on somebody.
Others want to talk about progressing in society, and yet they're using a bunch of things that's so regressive. For example, like go with the BIPOC and stuff like that. What benefit is that making to society? That is making zero benefits.
Does that benefit to you?
Zero.
Does that benefit for them?
No. Well, have something to complain about. They probably their benefit. But that's no. Well, in the say as saying idealistically, it benefits nobody. It has no benefit. All these pronoun gangs benefits nobody. Actually making more things more complicated. When we supposed to get rid of right them and Caesar or whatever your pronouns is.
Caesar?
It just I don't see. And then the science on top of that, where we Mr. Fauci jumped up and trust the science, and he never really opened a science book a day in life. I'm talking about trust the science. It's a whole bunch of nothing. Yeah, I say a whole bunch of nothing that they're trying to force on society and saying it will progress society, when in reality it's not. None of these things going to progress society. Forget skin color, forget all that. Me want to get rid of culture. Obviously, I wouldn't want to get rid of culture because I think that is a very important thing. Everybody that have the culture. Nations.
Africans are culture.
White people are culture.
I don't know.
Hey, so we look culture more locational, I would guess.
Cool.
But you need to stop focusing on things that makes no sense and get real progress. This
it don't make sense to you.
Yeah, but all right, if I could get, I would wish to get one of these people to come in here and explain to me what they want, dog.
Now you're asking for too much.
But I want to learn. They never explain the things. I want to learn. Give me learn.
Question. You know, so ask questions. You know
these type of thing you just say with that. Does follow up that. Not supposed to ask questions.
Yeah, because we watch a video where you're asking a question and it was like it's oppressive or something like that.
Yeah. You shouldn't ask questions.
So it's referring to murders.
And consider it as a serious
divisive.
thing.
Well, it's referring to murders, people getting attacked in broad daylight, elders getting bashed in the head. I fear for my mother-in-law going on walks. I ask her to make sure she's not walking around when it's getting dark. So it's very real. Getting murdered for being Asian is as hateful as it gets, is it not? Why are we afraid to just say out loud, let's stop Asian hate? It is happening in astronomical numbers. Studies have shown the increase. And where did it come from? Right after the COVID blast of people saying, it's the Chinese virus. There was a direct correlation to that Asian hate. It just didn't come out of thin air. So it really minimizes our experiences when you say it doesn't exist.
Here's a radical idea. Okay, you guys ready?
No, I'm not.
So there's a lot of violence happening. A lot of it's against Asian people. A lot of it is happening in cities. Crazy idea, I know. then maybe it's not a good idea to let criminals out of jail. Maybe it's not a good idea to defund the police, neuter the police's ability to have any degree of law and order in our streets. And maybe you wouldn't have so much violence happening against so many different types of vulnerable people. I mean, this is just the truth of the situation. You know, we can talk about this correlation with COVID. Maybe that's true to an extent. It's also true
wait, so
that
maybe that's true to an extent. What do you mean?
Because it's also true that it's been climbing over the past year or two, whatever. That's also around the same time that we had all of these, you know, anti-police movements. A lot of.
But it's also around the same time that Donald Trump was calling it the China virus, right?
Well, he's not calling it anymore, and it looks like this stuff is still happening. Problem with saying stop Asian hate and just saying stigma, whatever, is that it misses the real core of the problem. The real core of the problem is that there is lawlessness and mass violence and mass crime happening in cities. I think that the Stop Asian Hate movement comes from woke left-wing social movement to kind of make it into this argument of like minorities being persecuted, when I don't think that's the core of the problem. I think the core of the problem is like, it's just dangerous in our cities.
Originally,
I don't read what was since God hates since COVID. Now they want to act like they've been suffering for decades.
Oh boy.
Oh my God. Because who? For a good while, people used to afraid Asian people, right?
Why?
Them kung fu movies. To lie.
I don't know about that.
A lot of people used to be afraid of them because of these, all them Jackie Chan and stuff. Like, hey, but all Asians know this thing. All them Chinese know these things. Growing up, people was, all I was saying that, like, oh, don't go wrong them you get water. So it was a kind of, I don't mean a positive and a negative stigma at the same time.
So you live in a totally bigoted environment. It seems like the older heads, you know, continuing an apparent tradition of being bigots.
Hey, I never tell Jackie Chan to make all them good movies.
Okay.
And make me think that the Chinese, all them Chinese go water and go beat you up, no kung fu, don't even go and fight them. Everybody in the house could generate chakra and thing, probably get a Sengan.
And do maths.
Do maths. They need no calculator. Hey, Emote's working on this thing here. Nice.
Well, if that is true about Eastern culture, what do you say about the Westerns? We can learn to brush your teeth with a napkin.
Hey, you.
Take a bath every once a month.
God damn, it's a nigger in my house.
And be promiscuous with ladies without taking a bath.
What?
And they ride off triumphantly into the sunset at the end of every movie.
Oh. Those are all stereotypes.
Pointy too.
All right, look, say something else. Keeping it a buck 50. And say, obviously it's terrible, the things said about them and done to them, but I can't stand people that act like they've been suffering for years and centuries, like they themselves didn't eat on black people too.
But he no born, what are you talking about? You don't know?
I was like, geez. Or something? Like move to China, nah?
Nah. I would travel to China. I wouldn't live in China.
You gotta pay me $7 different color if we go there.
No, because when you come back, Trinidadian government will look at you kind of way now.
Let me hear what Honolulu had to say.
When you ask what Stop Asian Hate means to you, the first word that popped in my mind was ignorance. It goes beyond more than the way that people were just like acting out and attacking people. Some people were avoiding other people. Some people were like, oh no, you can't go over to that house because they're Asian, they're Japanese, they're Chinese. So that also is a version of hate. So like before we go too far into like the specifics of like crime, there was even just, you know, social injustices. And that is one of the things that I think that people might overlook.
Yulin?
In regards to just the term Stop Asian Hate, the reason why I feel like it falls short is not because of the sentiment. I think that there is definitely prejudice and absolutely like hate against Asians in this country. But I think sometimes that we view that violence very like specific, like I'm gonna beat you up because you're Asian, and like that is the violence. And I think sometimes like on a larger scale, that violence also shows up in ways in which like housing, education, healthcare, a lot of that.
And so now let's move on to the main event, because a lot of what's behind the disagreements that we're having today seems to be related to politics. How many of you here would say that you're progressive or liberal? Raise your hands. And how many would say conservative or to the main event? Because a lot of what's behind the disagreements that we're having today seems to be related to politics. How many of you here would say that you're progressive or liberal? Raise your hands. And how many would say conservative or not progressive and liberal? Undecided? Okay. Are Asians invisible in American politics? Are they visible? Do Asian Americans have political power? Let's take visibility.
Not visible enough. But that is a consequence of the mentality towards politics for a lot of Asians. You don't participate in the system, nobody's gonna care what you have to say, period. True. Which is why I've made it a point to participate in the system. You know, I don't go around saying, well, I'm Asian, that's why I deserve to be here. But just me being in the room is a step above what's kind of the sort of awareness, the political awareness of specifically the Indian community, in my opinion. You know, that's been my experience. So I don't think that they're visible enough. And the reason they're not visible is because they don't participate and do the work behind it.
So that engagement, civic engagement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that in terms of, I think it's more than that, but I do agree as lack of engagement or, you know, claiming to be apolitical. I think when Kamala became vice president, there wasn't really that much support that I saw from the Asian community. And she's our first Asian American woman to be elected in such a high position of office. So where is the support? Just because she may not look a specific way.
So what you're saying is that the broader Asian American community, which might include East Asians and otherwise, didn't speak up enough for having a South Asian person like Kamala Harris of mixed race become vice president of the United States. So divisions within itself.
Yes. Like I did not see very many East Asians come out and be like, you know, Asian American representation. But I saw plenty of black people come out and be like, black representation.
Huh?
Who does Kamala look like in this room, though?
Not one of them. Not one of them. Who's that?
Kamala what?
Kamala Harris.
Harris
H.
She didn't even have a East Asian name. She married? Was she what's she supposed to be?
I thought she was Latino.
Bruh, the amount of different lights I see in this woman, and she's supposed to be Asian.
Let's see, I'm gonna pull up our image here on stream.
Bruh. That looking Asian to you?
Ain't no way.
She look like an older black woman wearing makeup.
Yeah, I don't know.
But possibly Latino, as you say. I don't know what is Asian happening here. Me as a Japanese person, I will look at living in America. I will look at this and be like, yeah.
Oh, that's certain.
Asian. I'm going to support an Asian. Like she do look like me.
Yeah,
she living in New York.
She looking black to Latino.
I go and vote for this because this supported me. How? This don't look like me. A Chinese or Taiwanese person living in America. How this Asian? This don't look like Asian.
So you can say Indian self.
Exactly. She is mixed. You could see it.
Yeah.
But it don't look. I mean, she could be Douglas in a sense, you know. But yeah, that is Google changed the thing.
Is that
how the searches show up?
Yeah, look at this younger younger photos.
She looks black.
Yeah, that's it.
So I can't see. If I'm an Asian person, I can't see this person and say, yeah, I go and support her because she look like me. She don't look like me. She look like me.
Yeah, but Nas, this woman looking Indian to you?
There we go. No.
This woman does not look Indian. Nas, don't try that.
East Asian.
That's a nigga.
Wow.
Yeah, she. Hey, keeping it 100. This your husband? She's psychopath looking, so this not looking like no.
Is she a psychopath? Or you know she's a psychopath?
You never watch them interviews with she?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's you go, yeah, say you go, you have an interview with she, right? Say, right. The floor, I just say, the floor is
lava.
Has a 2-degree tilt. She will burst out laughing like a crazy person.
Okay.
Yo, the interview, she just be hilarious, dog. I just get my jokes out of because, jeez, like, bro,
Yeah,
get together, dog.
Call it what it is, yeah, bigger.
Or when she will go up on the podium and say a whole bunch of nothing, repeating the exact same thing. Come Nas, here we let you express your voice. Your voices must be heard here. This is what I do every time for all the voices to be heard.
Like
except women.
That's Blasian.
She looking like if she you can remember the Asian girl, I think the first Fast and Furious, or the second one was driving the pink car.
Yeah.
Remind me of she.
Nah, never. Nah, pull up. Pull up. Never. Unless we're thinking about two different Asian girls.
I don't know what she name
Look at the actress now, boy. Just look for the actress.
Alright, look, she.
Never.
Listen.
Does not.
Why? Because no. Here, right. Because she had a similar, she was wearing stuff similar to she. That why I say she remind me of she, because she was the same glasses and things she was wearing.
Show me. I want to see where you see it.
I said just remind.
Nah, you're remind blind. You remind blind in time. Chime. But it's a sign that I must remind that your mind is blind. That in time will shine.
I'm probably thinking about somebody else.
Because I remind that your blind is not shine. Is not remind.
So she was wearing her shades in one of them scenes.
Bruh, you think you imagine it? Play the video. Invalidate any experiences here. She doesn't look like her. Remove yourself.
I mean, that's probably a scary movie then.
Oh boy.
Yeah. You know, so there is definitely a lot of divisiveness within our own communities that we need to understand and recognize. Being Asian is not just being East Asian.
Maybe Asians didn't feel represented by Kamala Harris. Maybe people just don't like Kamala Harris. Like, she's one of the least popular vice presidents, I believe, in like recent history. I don't know if it's like an Asian exclusive thing. I just think a lot of people were not a fan.
Why don't you think they like her?
She comes off as obnoxious and pretentious, and they don't like her politics.
Can I piggyback off that? I think Kamala Harris does not get the love from the Asian community because she picks and chooses when she wants to be whatever her identity is. When she's on TV, on camera, you know, I'm a black woman, blah, 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 blah. but she only claims her Indian and Asian background when she's in the fundraisers with the rich Indians. She's doing it to herself. She's dividing her identity by playing up, code switching. I know AOC likes to use the word code switching. Code switching to the black community when she's on camera, and then code switching to the Asian community when she's raising money. Don't be surprised if, you only come around when you're asking for a check, and then we're not in the streets, as hard as you would like us to be. But then again, you don't go on camera wearing a dot on your head and the jasmine in your hair. Right? And wearing a sari. Show me a picture of Kamala in a sari. Right? When was the last time? I've seen Justin Trudeau wearing Indian clothes before her.
Demolished.
Oh my God, let's see my fight Kamala.
Kamala in the green jacket going crazy.
In a sari. How you supposed to say SCRI?
Yep.
Google didn't even want to search.
Hit enter now, but you don't know how to watch this already.
Dog, I hit an enter. Not going. Dog, I literally hit an enter, dog. Dog, I legit hit.
Because me and Nation. Chat, stream. This stream is a pussy. He don't want to end up on a list. Hit enter now, boy.
Oh gosh, where's that dog? Wait, enter.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Kamala
Harris in a sari.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, she's wearing saris.
No, Google don't know what to search for me.
She wear a sari.
Google not searching for me.
Oh wait, what? Is this wrong? Hold up.
Photoshop.
Oh lol. It's Photoshop. It is Photoshop. Holy shit. Oh my gosh.
Yo. Oh. Hey. Yo.
Check more image of VC like Kamala Harris in traditional Tamalian attire. Hold on. Okay, this is not even in English, so I carried it.
Oh my god.
God damn.
Hey.
God damn.
This is the greatest one, dog. They're my favorite one so far. She actually faked it, dog. No.
Or maybe somebody faked it.
Hey.
You don't have all the facts, senpai. Look at your Kamala Prasad Bisasena, sorry, how can I say?
I mean, right now, search up Kamala Prasad Bisasena with a bottle of punch now.
Did you get? No, because it was photoshopped.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go back.
But then we're not in the streets, as hard as you would like us to be. But then again, you don't go on camera wearing a dot on your head and the jasmine in your hair, right? And wearing a sari. Show me a picture of Kamala in a sari, right? When was the last time? I've seen Justin Trudeau wearing Indian clothes before her. You know what I mean? So don't give me the nonsense, right? Like, it's her fault that Asians don't get behind her.
For her trying to win over people, do you think that maybe as a choice to not represent that, to be more relatable to the masses, could be the reason why she acts the way that she acts? I don't know.
Are you saying Asians are not relatable to the American public?
Yes. To some, yeah.
What was it called?
No, to some. Being inaccessible to the masses could be the reason why she acts the way that she acts. I don't know.
Are you saying Asians are not relatable to the American public?
Yes. To some, yeah. No, to some. Being in a position where you have this generalization of how a standard American is supposed to be, and then all of a sudden, depending on the social climate, there is a lot of pressure on people to be a specific person. And so when you're someone in that light, trying to get support from different people, not even saying that she's right or wrong, I'm just saying that could possibly be a motive.
She did it to herself. If you just called yourself American, you wouldn't be in this mess. Right? But you switch the identity based on the need.
And send the wrong message to. Wearing a sari could sound. I say wearing a sari could send the wrong message to.
Yeah, it could be. You might say you're a terrorist or something.
No. It just like people look at it and be like, who she
culture appropriation.
I'm sorry. It's not cultural appropriation. Isn't she Asian?
Hey,
oh my
she
God.
identifies as black.
They will say who she feels she is. Because we see it locally here. Who she feels she is. Just because she put on her sari, that thing on her head, and she wearing the jasmine in her hair. And was it Kanjar underneath her eyes? You know, she feels she's or she represents the Asian or the Indian community. People will say that. We have those people down here. So I could understand her stance to probably not wear one if that is her stance. But at the same time, putting on one at this point would just like your mama guy and people. If she was always wearing it, let me say, like from day one, she was wearing it and then end up in the White House as the VP, then by all means, yeah, you're representing sister, go right ahead. But I mean, you're wearing suits constantly and then the Photoshop photos are you wearing a sari. I mean, come on. Nobody's gonna be like, support this woman. Like, hey, who you pandering towards? Relax yourself, Kamala Jackson.
And that is where you got yourself. If you just called yourself American, you wouldn't be in this mess. But you switch the identity based on the need. And that is the problem.
I think Kamala exists.
It's politically expedient.
You kind of saw this when Biden chose her. She exists to basically appeal to like the woke diversity mob. Like that's the truth. Biden said, I'm going to pick a woman. And then he said, I'm going to pick a woman of color, quote unquote, ended up with Kamala Harris. And I just think that a lot of people outside of Ivy League educations find that stuff off-putting. In general America, a lot of people of all different colors are very off-put by her entire political presentation and existence because they're off-put by the
women,
diversity,
black people,
liberal nonsense.
They're off-put by a woman in leadership. I want to chime in.
Apparently, even like women of color and black women, even like
as we talked about,
approval rating in general sucks.
I agree.
Why? Because
let's get off the approval rating for a second. I want to hold on one point of yours, which is she's a token. That's what I heard from you.
Sure. I think Biden chose her absolutely.
It literally is. Nas, confirm. Nas, where? Confirm. And she's a token.
Pause. You on South Park?
Yeah, sometimes. What happened?
You know the black kid on South Park?
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
Try to remember. I don't know names of it. Worst was Zach's names is me.
Oh, easy words, eh? So I watched an episode recently where they reveal what his name actually is. Because everybody just call him Token. Right? So they actually address it. His name is Tolkien. But they wait like Tolkien who wrote Lord of the Rings now. His father named him after the author. But how everybody's pronounced it sound like Token, so like Token black guy. And I think it's Kyle, the one with the green hat, was like he going crazy because nobody else only he knew. No, sorry, only he thought that his name was didn't know his name was Tolkien, not Token. But everybody's pronounced it like Token, so he going around calling people, Token name is Tolkien. Like everybody's like, yeah, you didn't know that, and it just divulged into a bit of racism now, but it was real hilarious. I and all didn't know, and I was like, I thought he just put Token because he's Token. Season 25, one of the 6 episodes. I can't remember which one it was.
So much seasons.
I just kind of went backwards now, boy. But I watching South Park since its inception, so I know the black kid was always there. But I stopped for a while, so I always thought his name was Token. So they even went to like the parents. I was like, "How you gonna name your child Token? Cause he black and that is racist." But the father was like, "No, it's Token, as in the writer of the books, the Lord of the Rings book." Yeah. But everybody was like, "Yeah, I knew that," and Kyle was like, "Oh my god, I'm racist." Something like that. Yeah, watch the episode. It's real funny.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, is a
so I want to know how you respond.
Two-part COVID special.
Oh, it gets worse than that, man.
to sort of what Vince was saying that Kamala Harris point of yours, which is she's a token. That's what I heard from you.
Sure. I think Biden chose her absolutely as a token.
So I want to know how you respond to sort of what Vince was saying, that Kamala Harris effectively was a token pick because demographic boxes, and specifically an Asian American demographic box.
I feel like anytime a person of color gets chosen, we're looked at as a token, especially in institutions. It's
all right. I understand that, but in this case, nah, she was definitely a token. Biden literally went up and said that. You can go and look it up here. What Biden literally said that. Oh, so what did you have to get most qualified person for the job.
Say the most qualified person is a black woman of mixed descent.
Oh, go right ahead. But
all right, so what is the problem?
Kamala, the performance of this person is not a qualified person at all.
Okay.
I don't know if she even know how to spell the word politics.
Hey, compared to whom?
Like literally.
Don't say anybody. Call names.
If the switch, don't say switch. If the had a next, they say somebody else was president, I'd rather Sleepy Joe, they be VP than Kamala. Because at least Sleepy Joe have a little, I'm just saying, right? If somebody else was president, right? And I had to choose between Kamala and Biden, I would choose Biden because at least he have something on any belt for being some political something. Whereas Kamala, he been there since the 80s or whatever. So
okay.
So at least he has some kind of qualification on the belt. Whereas she doesn't have jack.
How you know that? What is her qualifications compared
None.
to, and why was she chosen over the rest? Because I'm pretty sure they would have presented them with a list.
Because of whoever that could control the easiest.
You know what? Let me take that back, because even in interviews, they don't always take the most qualified person. They should, but they don't always do it. So I'll read that. I'll take back what I said.
No.
They don't always take the most qualified people.
I see. I just saying, if you're seeing a list, right? And if they had like a big long list, even AOC, I'd probably choose over Kamala. Because, geez, Kamala just got some. No, why are you pronouncing it different? It's probably the same way, I think. Kamala.
Different pronunciations, brother. They exist. Relax.
No, I just saying why we pronouncing it like that. I mean, we know
I don't know because that's how she present. Her name is not Kamala.
Kamala.
Kamala name is spelled differently.
Serious?
Kamala name is Kamala, not so?
But when I was searching up Kamala,
it's Kamala. This vice president name is Kamala. Kamala.
They're spelled the same way.
No. Is it?
Yes. Look at what it here. Kamala. Kamala Pasabi says right? Kamala. Kamala Harris. Same way. It's the same way.
Big man. What browser are you using?
Well, look at right here.
Kamala Passad.
No, so why Google was picking up wrong. So it's Kamala. Okay.
That's why I said you don't know who your opposition leader is. Or?
Them don't exist to me. I don't watch politics.
She's 70. Why these old people just sit down, boy? Like, give the youths a chance. That is a nice discussion to have, senpai. To bring somebody on and talk about like why old people don't just leave the room for the younger folks to come in. This woman is 70 years. Pandey is how much? Although I like Pandey. Pandey is my boy.
Silver Fox.
Silver Fox. He's 89 years old, pushing 90 dog.
Old Bobby is.
Bobby's about 70.
Rip.
Probably 73. Let me make sure. 73.
Rip Manning, the goat.
Boy, yo, let's sit down now, boy. Paul Weeks is 64 years. Retirement age is what? Not 65? Boy, look and sit down now, boy. Let somebody young come in and take over.
What is the age you would suggest as a younger person for politics?
I probably would not say as young as possible. I'd probably say like between 35 and 40 to start.
Okay.
Because at that point, at least by let me say the perfect setting, at that point you should at least have a PhD. Or a doctorate or something at that point. So you have the chops to, do the work. That's just in my mind. There's probably more factors attached to it, but at that point. And then you have how much terms you could serve in that time. Like you say 40 to 65, that is 25 years. Oof. Nah, it's politicians, and they make money. So like you get them earlier for retirement age. Like you say 60, that is 20 years. So you could serve, I think you could serve
4 times.
No. I'm talking about like as a political leader, like how much times you could remain prime minister if you keep revoted in. So like if like
every 5 years?
Yes, but
right, so
here what I'm saying. So okay, Keith Rowley, right? Like you say he now start.
All right,
he's 40 years and he now start, right? True. No, you don't understand what I'm saying. Hold on. He's now start. He's 40 years, right? He's elected as the political leader of the PNM at 40 years, right? Right? At that time, there's a general election. And he got inaugurated as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. He serves for 5 years. Election comes around again. He wins, PNM wins, and he serves another 5 years. In the US system, I think a president could only serve 2 terms. I'm not sure how it works down here. So these terms is what I meant to say.
So all right, that's saying
a 3rd term.
Yeah.
I would say nah. Probably I'd push it to 3 and then say, yeah, let somebody else be political leader.
I would base it between 40 to 50. I'll just say PhD or kind.
Yeah, I think that is enough time to.
Yeah, PhD or kind of stuff like that. And I would. Why I'm choosing 40 to 50 is before you really go into like an office position, you had to at least learn some groundwork, get some experience in the thing.
So even with that, you could start earlier then. You can start earlier. So, like
so it's not just you just get a PhD and you're straight into a politician.
Yeah.
Nah, you get some groundwork and stuff like that. You understand the thing. And probably where you live and you learn like constituency stuff and thing. Yeah, learn all that before you go up. Yeah. You can't just reach up the what is call that, boy? You could like be a representative of your area or wherever. And stuff like that. And yeah, you could go in from there. And but limit the terms. I guess you're correct with that, limited terms.
I would say 2 to 3. But not for the political party, but for the whoever is prime minister.
Yeah. All right. You rotating the leader then, right? So
yeah.
If say like how Manning, I guess they can have to relinquish it to Bobby. Like that, and they could still
prime minister. Dr. Keith Rowley.
Yeah, so like that thing could happen. Right? Kind of like
yeah.
So yeah, I think one thing I don't like how I don't like is that the leader for a long time. Let somebody else lead and see what they could do now, man.
Exactly.
Because you lead a party for how much 50 years. Come now, man. Go give somebody else a chance now.
Who will not hire you? Let's be real. If you well, I mean, unless if you're generally hated by the
I saw your step on that just kill you.
Who will not hire yours? Like, you could get a job. You could get a job. Even if you get a job in the same political party.
Yeah.
Son, you could, I mean, you could be a minister or something else, but you have an age to stop working in this political thing.
Yeah.
Cut it off. We don't need you so old, us. We really don't need it that old.
Yeah, we need to, I think that thing needs a little cut off right now. You have too much grams up inside it.
Take that same model and apply it for the Trinidad and Tobago football team.
What, 40 to 50?
No. I mean the model, not the age. The model. Because we used to have some old footballers like Sturgeon and them fellas was playing 37, 38 years. Old, I mean, not in terms of age or lifespan and this, but they were like 38, 37, 38 years playing football. So for the country, I mean, like, oh God, dog, sit down.
If the man look LeBron playing basketball for how long?
How old LeBron is?
LeBron is like...
It's in that hard, dog. Man's 38 years.
You see you actually talking about Sturgeon. Man, like 40.
Boy, they winning anything? How much games LeBron James has win?
Plenty.
And how much points he score? Thank you.
Man
These
goated.
fellas didn't win, boy. Let's sit down. Let's sit down. Let's old, boy.
He just a hater.
If it was 37, dog, and you're playing in at least 3 or 4 goals a game, although you may not win, dog, I'd be like, yeah, the man could still play us. The man could still play. Or they keep playing. That's fine. I'd look past it, but all the men not doing nothing, boy. Go and sit down. Retire. There's a reason why they say like certain sports, you have an age limit. After a while, you're slow. Even esports. These fellas that retire at 24 or 25, somewhere around there. Because the reaction times, the snappiness not there again. Anyway,
Are you talking about age and politics? You haven't watched the last season of Agaretsko, have you? Agaretsko.
No. My controller floating.
Yeah, take a look at this season. It's exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Noted. Historical, like it's new to us, right? So a person of color gets chosen, we're looked at as a token, especially in institutions. It's historical, like it's new to us, right? So in one sense, there's some truth to it, even in our own communities, I think. Is she a token? Like we second guess ourselves. You start to second guess, are you worth it? Because you're constantly being questioned.
Qualified?
Did you get here because you were diversity higher or, this is the existence that we live in right now. And so
whose fault
Kamala
is that?
Harris is actually very representative of what we face. You can say token all day long, but you can't take that away.
People will scrutinize her. However, what about the other people, other 47 presidents who've definitely done their fair share? I'd say probably worse things.
Yes, absolutely.
Who are not nitpicked for what they are wearing or, like maybe not fitting in enough because they already fit in.
But they were white.
Or for being white.
Yeah.
Yet another white person.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't agree with, her politics. And like, I don't want to take like her credentials away.
Yeah.
Because she earned it. She wasn't just a diversity pick. She was picked because she also
put in the work.
She also put in the work.
I'd like to hear from the women in the panel about the specifics that we're talking about, because not only is she the first Black and Asian American vice president, she's also the first woman of choice.
I disagree with Kamala's politics, I'll say it, but at the same time, she's representative of a woman, and I think we should give her some award for that. Like,
credit?
Credit, yes, that's the word that I was looking for. This is my point exactly with plain identity politics. Like, who cares if she's Black? Who cares if she's a woman? Like, if she got there on her own merit, that's what's important.
Yulin?
I haven't really thought too much about her being a token so much. I think I'm more interested in, well, what will you do now that you're in office? Yeah. Will things still change? Or is it
what would that look like?
Yeah, and it's great because obviously you do want the optics. You do hope, and you put a lot of that pressure on that person who you feel might represent you. If I wanted to talk really about representation, I'd be like, put somebody poor up there.
Pause. I like what she's saying.
Why?
She's talking about like Pull it back now, can you make me forget when you say that?
What's important.
You like?
I haven't really thought too much about her being a token so much. I think I'm more interested in, well, what will you do now that you're in office? Will things still change? Or is it
what would that look like?
Yeah, and it's great because obviously
she's elected, right? You put her in all your voter into that position. And all the people happy with this. So now you need to put pressure on her to see what she could do. Or we want to see what you could do and we put pressure on you. However you want to string. Right? When Kamala Prasad Bisasa, whoa. Why any desk trying to access my non-lotto? Any desk? What the hell? Oh no, the FBI like they find my help. Anyway, yeah. When people heard Kamala Prasad Bisasa was going up for Prime Minister, everybody jumped on the train. Oh, first female Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And that was it. She won because of that. First female Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Oh, she should get this, she should get that. First female Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
She joined the press around though.
I don't know. But then I was like, all right, so I saw how the voting went. A lot of women went out and they voted for her. Cool. So now what?
Not me.
Where the you's now a woman. Are you? Anyhow. So my thing was, okay, so all elector, right? What now? We're gonna see the exact same thing as other prime ministers are passed through. The same corruption, the same on the table dealing, same nepotism. So said, so done. And nobody put pressure on her to say, well, hey, all right, we elect you. Now we want to see how best you're gonna change the system, make it better for women at least. Or you know, made the country better. Like, no. The initial thing, the hype thing, the celebratory thing, the party thing as Trinidadians normally do is like, hey, we have the first female prime minister, and that was it. No pressure was put onto her. And in fact, when you look back at the stuff that they were doing, it wasn't under the table at all. They were in the spotlight every night in the news. They were in the spotlight for some kind of shenanigans. They were stealing outright.
Yeah, but that was real blatant, though.
Blatant in your face, and nobody said anything. Well, we said something when we voted them out, though. But again, we only have two political parties, and it's the lesser of two evils every 5 years. So what they should have done, what the people that voted her in should have done is say, hey, we have our eyes on you, you know. We elect you here, but we don't do that. We elect you here, right? We put you in the power. But we also gonna like apply pressure to make sure that you do the right thing, that you don't follow in the footsteps of the men that came before you. That is what they should have said. Then I'd be like, all right, ladies, all they have it. I agree. But they were just like, hey, celebrate, wine low, first female prime minister, and that was it. Everybody washed hands and went about their business. No pressure was applied, no accountability was applied, because accountability is a foreign thing to women, apparently. And it's just blatant stealing. They need news every night, hearing about the stealing and the other shenanigans they're doing. And then it's only at the end of the 5 year, or the end of the third year, people was like, you know, they're actually not doing something good. We're gonna vote them out in the next election. When, you know, all they could have be unhappy in the middle of it and be like, hey, we don't like you from now. Like the first year was, we don't like you, so we want another election. Let we do this again. Or we don't like you as a political leader. We don't like you as prime minister. UNC could run, but choose somebody else to lead the country. We don't like you. But who's the other woman in the UNC that you could elect? Seniority? Kamala did a long time. So you can't really you don't know anybody else because these positions were always changing. One thing I hated about social studies back in school, every year, these positions change, and you gotta remember that shit. No pressure, no accountability, stealing, over the table dealing, nepotism in the news every night.
I can never forget a night I came home and I just listened to the news. I can never forget it. And then when the news saying, yeah, them literally say, yo, but the amount them spend way back when, but we spend like 6 times the amount of that in 2 years. and we don't care. On the news there, like, and nobody pointing this out.
Because when you talk about it, what you're doing, oh, you're bad talking the first female prime minister of the country.
And that's the thing. You used to get a lot of backlash for that. Anytime you say, hey, look, she doing.
You couldn't do it.
Someday. Wow, you used to get real.
You see, we get wise after some time because we see when it's in the news, if it was not in the news, they would have get away. But it in the news every single night.
But a lot of people were choosing to ignore it for a good while.
Yeah.
They seen it and they seen it and like, I was like, huh? Look what's going on there. Look what we talking about. Look at this. And everybody watching it like,
because they were happy that they elected a female prime minister. It's like, yes, we did our job. We got a woman in power, and that was it. Nothing else
on
after
stage or kind of thing.
Yeah, drunk and intoxicated. How you could represent the country like that? You understand?
Like, that was really embarrassing, dog.
Embarrassment is joke. I just watch and I be like, hey, this one all crazy. This will put in power. Again, they don't want to apply accountability. You don't want to put pressure on them to do the right thing. That is what they should have been doing. It's like, hey, we seen what's going on in America, right? We want some of the same things. We want this, we want that, we want that. They put pressure on us to apply these things, to give all of these things. Nah. Be happy.
Live sport, let's go.
What's live sport again? Is live sport?
Yeah.
Anyway, that was real shit. That was real shit from somebody who live in that area, because that man was what is called the position, but the member of parliament for our constituency. That thing was a bugger ass. Like what was a bugger ass squared. Anyway.
Washing money.
Washing money, thank you. That was real shit. From a man who was on the outside looking in and the inside looking out. That thing was garbage. But anyway, they elect Kamala, and I was like, my eyes are on you. And I was seeing it. People that spoke out were the people that had eyes on her.
And they get punched down.
They get punched down until like the 4-year mark. And then everybody get the realization that, hey, UNC actually doing shit. So you vote them out. And they were voted out. Because that is the first time in a long time they hold any political power in the country. It's like 10 years before that, if I'm not mistaken, man, correct me. It's like 10 years before that, it was PNM, and then UNC. Hey, first female prime minister, great, cool, nice. And then I think after that, I think this is second year PNM, second term of PNM we're going into, or we in, I think, from that whole thing. I lied. From the third.
No, second.
I could be wrong.
Second.
Okay, cool. I ain't following them things. So anybody that come into power, dog, my eyes are on you. I want to see what you're doing. Talk your big talk, and then nothing happened. But we are accustomed to that. So I don't know. People probably just jaded too. I jaded for sure.
This is second pirate. No, pirate accent was the second or the third. No, the second.
I don't know. I lose track.
There was going to win come last election, you know. But then when she go up and say the blank man.
Is the blank man again?
She's calling Rowley that, the blank man. What people hear that and the commercials that was promoted, and I was like, wait, that they real racial on that too, boy.
Why blank man racist?
No, blank man.
Oh, blank man, the bald superhero. Oh, I see the resemblance.
The Wayans brothers.
Right, and the had some advertisement that was real. They were showing like every time a black person is always like real poor one.
Yes, I remember.
And the Asian was the Chinese man was like the big, bright, he smart, he have suit and thing. The Indian had I can't remember what it was, but like a thriving something. I was like, and when people see that, I was like, nah, you can't go back there.
All right, so from 95 to 2000, they served 2 terms. I think that was back in Basil Panley days. 91 was PNM, and 86 I wasn't born yet, so we ain't go worry about that. I think that is NAR. I remember being born in NAR times. And then 2001
No, but
to
that one was way out among Pirate.
2001 to 2007, because I think they call like a snap election or something. So I think one of these they call a snap election too. You know, it was real big. I think it's the probably which one it was, 91 to 95, and they lose or something. They just get into power. Oh no, that's
to me that when I know when Manning gets sick and thing at the election, the loss.
No, boy. It had an election.
They call a quick election.
They call a quick election, and they lose.
It was recent.
That was that's UNC. You guys seen UNC at 2000 to 2001, you know?
What are you at have?
Well, like I say, 95 to 2000. That's 5 years. Wait, what's going on here? Okay, so I seen 95 and then to 2000, then 2000 to 2001. So they serve a short term there.
It do have a 15th month Pirate. What are you talking about?
15th month? Okay. Then PNM is 2001 to
Nah, he talking about the arm ratio.
2002? What is this? What going on here? This is general election?
I remember the time.
And then 2002 to 2000.
But a joke came around with you.
Then People's Partnership in 2010, and then PNM again in 2015, sorry.
When the People Partnership, I think that was a quick call election.
That one?
Yeah.
That's with PNM, yes. I think that was probably it. Because 2007 to 2010, I say, yeah, let you do this thing, and I go, surely I go win. And they lose.
Yeah, right. That is exactly what happened.
I was like, dog, what are you doing, man? Anyhow.
It was not really a quick. It was just it wasn't a full length.
Did we have elections in 2020?
I remember now. I can't remember when the last election. But you stopped video.
You do want the optics. You hope, and you put a lot of that pressure on that person who you feel might represent you. If I wanted to talk really about representation, I'd be like, put somebody poor up there. I don't want anybody rich running the government. Sorry, like, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, what's the pulse on your country, on your actual citizens? So that's what I'm interested in.
Let's talk about higher education.
I'd rather a rich person run the country than a poor person.
Because he knows how to manage something.
Yeah.
A man that didn't know how to handle thing go kill we.
Not only like in the way they do it, but mentality too.
Yeah.
A poor person gonna be like, all right, I need to get things done. Well, not get things done, but I need to like spend on frivolous things and make short-term decisions rather than long-term decisions.
Yeah.
All right, give me a rich person running the country, please.
Yeah. No,
if you're poor and you're educated, fine, and you have a affinity for political stuff and management, I think fine, cool. Be poor and go up and do it.
You could work with that.
Oh, Pirate, what going on? Morning.
Okay, because this one ain't same thing. I was trying for him to tell you. You can't remember the time when it had the split between the two, between UNC and PNM at that 15-15, and then Tobago was held by NAR, and then Robinson went with UNC in order to make the party, and then he got presidency because of it.
Right. That was hold on. That was 1995.
Right. And then after that, POP made UNC lose the election. Because of the stupidness when they started blaming them because they say, oh, they went and they split the UNC votes. Because the people, COP. Because what ended up happening was that was when, oh gosh, what's this man's name again? The one who was once Governor General. He got elected as being Duki was Duki was elected as the head for the UNC party. Pandey watched the man in the face and tell him no. And stayed. So he got vexed and he left with a whole set of people. So that's when he realized that UNC people got split in half. So what ended up happening is that when they came up for election separately now, they blame them to tell them, oh, they split the UNC votes, that's why we lost. So when they went back into the next election again now, they come back under the People's Partnership now, and they're going right back on the UNC again. They say, well, you left them in the first place for? You left under integrity. You say you're going to live under integrity, but you're going right back with the same people again.
Was Pandey still in the party at that time?
No, that was right after they got rid of him. When they came back, is when they got rid of him. That's when Kamala took over. That's when Drunken Lady came over.
Maybe that is the honorable opposition leader.
Mr. Man, you ever see the video with her when she's drinking?
Anyway, you're not a Trinidadian, so you don't apply. You need not apply.
I use that Trinity all the way. I is one of them that live in
Wait, what part you going tomorrow? Huh? Where you going to jump up tomorrow?
Mr.
Oh, no,
This is the only he asked me to jump.
We go and jump, bro.
This is one of the only islands in the Caribbean that does not celebrate Carnival. I was like, these people, boy. I have my soca ready and waiting. I was blasted for the whole weekend.
It's not here in soca. I need to come much more mic.
Mr. Man, my soca going and start at 5, not even 5. I start at about 3 o'clock in the morning and start my jewelry. I'm waking up with soca.
So we are 8 moments in this video.
Education and affirmative action. So I think a lot of our conversation, the rubber hits the road on this topic. And because plaintiffs challenging affirmative action rules, there are Asian Americans who are banding together to do that.
I think of affirmative action as a scam. It's an excuse to make...
Everything is not scam for you, so...
Most of the times it is.
I mean, he ain't wrong with that. I don't say every time he talk, hey, that's a scam. It's a scam.
Hey, as the meme says it, he's out of line, but he's right.
Exactly, the year.
Race-based.
To do that. Plaintiffs challenging affirmative action rules, there are Asian Americans who are banding together to do that.
I think of affirmative action as a scam. It's an excuse to make race-based hiring decisions. And I think that that's wrong. And I think that everything should be based on merit.
The students that are picked by affirmative action are top-tier students.
Yeah.
They're not like some D+ students that are...
No.
They could be.
No, for the most part, the majority is but just look, gosh, I can't remember the state, but when the same picked by race and stuff, right? And when I went in, it was the performance of the schools went down so low because it was just picking because hey, they bring the black people, they bring in the Hispanics and stuff like that without, and just because of the color of skin, do that, and the performance of the school went down into the ditch, and then now they sort of fight up to try to do something, and it just keep trying to go up a little bit, right back down, go up a little bit, right back down, instead of just, I mean, as the same merit is, and it's never the I think we was talking about that right here, where, right, she kind of correct with the top performing being picked as well, right?
Okay.
But what they was doing when they're picking it up performing, right? Say there's 3 of them, right? A black, a white, and an Asian, right? Let's see that, right? The only they'll pick the top, but not at the top. The top, right? Say he come from this school, right? The black person come from that school, right? And he perform the top at that school. And the white person come and perform the top wherever school he came from. The Chinese person come and perform at the top of wherever school he came from. It's top, yes, but when you look at the grades and what actually is the top of them school, it was nothing. So yes, top students. It was top students, yes.
The American education system, they literally started to downgrade exactly what was a passing grade for them.
Right. All right,
So
that's
because of
it.
that, what would be considered a good pass to them, which may be considered an A for them, may be considered a C at another school level.
Right. I see. So all the 2 different schools had different passing grades, and each of them was top. All 3 of them was top. Yes, correct. It's 100% correct. But the passing grades was not up to mark to the others. So some of the passing grades was just not up to mark with the other schools. It was like way lower passing grades compared to the other school maybe. But because of the skin color, they take he, even though the performance is not up to mark as the other schools. But it what they call it? What they call it? Equity or equality, whatever.
Equality.
Integrity.
That are getting picked just based on race. They already are performing at a very top level themselves and proven themselves to be picked.
Despite systemic barriers.
I think to a reasonable extent, you could say, okay, if someone grew up in like total poverty and they didn't have the same opportunities, then you can lower the standard a little bit. What I would still say is I think there has to be some proof still of capability. Right now, there's a left-wing movement to remove SAT and standardized testing. So in my opinion, sure, the SAT may not be a perfect test. I think it's decent. That is what actually levels the playing field, is saying we have to take the same test. It doesn't matter what your teacher, how hard they grade, you pay them off, private school education, you know. That's the environment where it's like totally even.
Sure, it's one way to measure intelligence, but that's also assuming that intelligence can only be assessed in one way. How do you compare someone who is just as smart, or, you know, maybe even if they didn't get the SAT score, as like their classmate who literally paid a tutor for 4 years.
Every single day, yeah.
Give me my bun stuff.
You know, versus this person, they took the test twice in their life and then they put a bunch of their savings into paying for the test.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to compare these people and say that one is more deserving?
So I think to level the playing field, like we need to improve our local schools. Not every school is the same. Like if you're in a poor community, you don't have the best teachers. So we want to hold all the teachers accountable for giving top grade education so everybody's leveled. And then it wouldn't matter which race or socioeconomic position that you're taking. I don't agree with like getting rid of affirmative action altogether. I think it needs reform.
What about like legacy kids? I think that it's great to take into account, you know.
Pirate, explain. What is legacy kids?
I wish I knew what was legacy kids. I want to hear what it is. I never knew there was such a thing called legacy kids.
No, the systems in.
Let me get. I'll get. Hold on. Oh. People in the top. Let me see exactly what legacy kids is like. What
is
this
real slow, boy.
What's that, please?
To legacy kids definition.
What is legacy kids?
Go back to the Google search bar. Right. Wait, this month. What is that? He gonna take off legacy kids to type it again. You like to get yourself one point.
How about okay.
Look at that. Parent-focused public health intervention that improving children's fostering positive parenting among low-income mothers and okay.
So it was like a program to build up from a young age. Okay.
For poor kids, yes.
Basically. Yeah. Okay. So she have a problem with it?
Power that have that
action altogether. I think it needs reform.
What about like legacy kids? I think that it's great to take into account, you know, the systems in power that have intentionally made sure that certain people, and specifically Black and brown people, cannot have access to education. I think that's a great way to try to level that playing field at the least. If a kid
we
can
don't
get
see
in,
a fuss being made about legacy kids ever. When do you ever hear about that?
Exactly, it's that like people get a lot more up in arms, I would say, when it's like, oh, well, so you just got in because of your, you know, race.
What do you think the future of Asian Americans in America and American politics is?
The paradigm we are going through now, especially with our relations with different ethnic groups and everything, I think that we are headed towards Balkanization, and the future of America is starting to look like Bosnia. And so I want to avoid that.
You know, within our generation, at least.
Bosnia. It's just Bosnia, what's going on in Bosnia? Somebody.
I don't know. It just must be how they look at people or something. I don't know.
What I've seen, a lot more Asian Americans who are interested in politics, who are interested in bringing more representation and bringing more, saying like, we've had enough.
So what I'm
you know, this is not how we need to be treated, how we deserve to be treated.
Yes,
so like, I think in terms of involvement, there will be a higher involvement of Asian Americans. And also just the mere fact that we had Asian American representation, whether it's Kamala or Andrea Yang just even running, that
Lulu,
shows
I'm not going
people
to say
that,
nothing,
hey,
but-
maybe that could be me.
Dick Rider here.
I think that one of the biggest things that representation does is it says, I'm allowed to do that because I see someone that looks like me do that.
Yeah.
And I think just exactly what you said is that, you know, with Black Lives Matter, Asian hate, we learned that if we work together as people of color, and that's where I think, that's what it means to me, is that we as a group working together
work together
get
as
more
people.
done. And that if we support each other and we do this, we can get more of ourselves up there.
Asians people.
Don't go there.
Forget Senpai. Senpai is
Alright.
because they seem pretty white to me.
No, the thing about it is, Asians will be considered yellow. Then they will be wow.
Emoji people.
Okay, if you you remember Power Rangers, right? The one I used to show on TV.
The Black Ranger was black.
The Black Ranger was black. The Red Ranger was Native American. The Yellow Ranger was Asian. They have always
Who was Native American? Hold on.
The red one.
He was Native American?
The first one, not John, not the second one, the first one, they put him as more Native American.
Google that Senpai. That's all like.
Oh gosh, Ranger.
Tommy Jason Frank. No, Tommy Jason Frank is the second one.
He's not Asian American.
Not Jason
Native
Frank.
American.
The other one, the one that was before him.
This is the first one. Jason is the first one. Rocky's the second one.
Rocky's
the second one? What are you telling me? Rocky's the second one.
Rocky.
Rocky's the second one. Jason is the first one.
Put Jason David Frank, because I think Jason David Frank is dead.
That's
not him.
Rest in peace.
He wasn't the first one. He was
the first one. The guy on the left is the first one.
That is not the
Rocky's the second one. Big man, you're telling me? Let me school it like our school Donko Transformers. That is the first Red Ranger, okay? Rocky is the one of the guy on the right. He came in after. Because Jason, Zach, and Trini, rest in peace, went to some convention and they had to give up their powers to 3 other Rangers, who was Rocky, Aisha, and Adam. There you go. School.
That is not the first Red Ranger that I knew.
Motherfucker. Well, you start watching it late, and it's fine. It's okay.
So they Jason?
Power Rangers?
Yes.
No. The one that I know is the one that what happened. They had a rumor going on where that he went into porn, but
that is Jason.
That is him.
Yes.
He looks so freaking different to how I know him.
This is Jason. No, Jason is his name in the show. I don't know his actual real name, but Jason is his name in the show.
So who is Rocky?
Rocky came in after.
Okay.
Because Jason had to leave. Jason, Trini, and Zach had to leave.
Because they gave up. And
they gave up their powers.
They switched over. Look up Red Ranger Jason and see what you get.
Man, doubting me, you know.
No, I'm not doubting you, Mr. Man. I'm not doubting you. Right, this is the one that I know. The one. One. This one. No. Do you want this picture? Next one, that picture there, him. This is the one that I remember as being the first Red Ranger.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you go. It's like after sending in like
well, but he's so huge Power Rangers.
There.
I think you will definitely see some people actually move to the right because of that. How big will it be? I don't really know. Probably not as big as a lot of Republicans hope, but I think it will happen.
What do I think about the future? I'm gonna be hopeful because I think that oftentimes we are characterized as just angry.
Rider.
And our politic isn't
rooted.
Dick Rider. But our politic isn't rooted in love and isn't rooted in community, isn't rooted in hope, and I hope that it is, right? And so what I'm hopeful about.
What?
He's trying his best to get into her pants after the show.
That's a mother you're looking at. He's probably gay because he's a liberal. All them liberals gay.
Good God, don't go there, man. Don't go there. Don't go there.
I don't truly both sides. I don't care. I have a stance that once you pick a side, you're lost. No, personally, if you pick a side, you're lost. That is my stance on the whole right wing, left wing, liberal, conservative nonsense. I just say once the time you label yourself as either or, to me, you're lost in my book, though.
You can't always be one-sided. You will be open. It's in a sense you're open to both sides. You can't if you're only on one side, and that means you've closed up yourself to having any sort of real sense of discussion or anything.
Yeah, because
everybody has two sides. You have two sides to everything.
That's why I just kind of watch these things, because I'll be like, what are these both sides saying that make them so flip magnetic on each other that they can't reach a specific something.
Anything work together for some reason. They just can't.
Because I think it was right, he was talking about the definition of liberal and conservative, and I used to consider myself conservative, and I watched the definition, I was like, okay. Then I watched the definition of liberal, and I was like, okay. So why can't these things just work in conjunction with each other? I got confused.
Because they can't multitask. That's why they could only focus on one thing.
Because I think, when I read the definition, I see that both of them could literally work together. And if two of them work together, it'll be perfection. It will be perfection. But then they come and obscure the main liberals and stuff like that. And I don't think them liberal people call themselves liberals. Liberals, I don't think people call themselves conservative, because the picking and choosing what in that form banner to follow, instead of saying like follow it fully. And I could think you could fully follow both sides and be one true king. It's just so dumb. My stances, once you pick a side, you lose in my book, though. I don't care what you have to say, really. You're a piece of shit to me.
Is that we can sit here and name politicians who look like us and sound like us. Yeah. And that wasn't the case when I was a kid. I didn't think that was possible.
Why? Why is that even necessary? I don't know if it's just me, or I just say from my experience, I very much hate representation. As in, it's not bad, but I don't see it as a good in the sense that the way of presenting it then, right? The presentation for wow, what was I saying? For the presentation for representation, I do not like it at all.
Yeah,
because it
just a sellout scene.
Yeah,
you just basically there's a trophy just to get votes.
Yeah,
basically.
There's other black person because we had a black person. The change race are the character that we know and love for much years now. The change race. Because we want representation. Why not create a new character? That's the thing, right? Create a new character. If you want representation, create a new character. Don't switch the character that's already there to something else. That to me, that is disrespecting the source material or whatever the original concept that kind of set in stone for much years. I think, for example, look this Velma thing that came out the other day, and just a bunch of just racial stereotypes. Like
it is.
That's not representation in my book. That's to me, they're not representation. That is just pandering.
They will just call it representation. It's like you people don't know what representation is. Because they just using words just to get
brownie points.
I'm like,
really? Get the brownie points. For example, right, Apex, right? I personally don't like I play a game. And a game to me is I don't want to hear about no outside politics when I play my game though. Probably no real world politics. But when I
get
Go ahead.
When I said the banner man, they get a man banned from Nether for making mods because he take the pride flag out of Spider-Man. He replaced it with the American flag and he get banned.
You see, and watch that, right? Something that you're taking something with no value and putting something with value. I think your country
exactly. You would think a national flag will have some kind of importance.
Yeah.
They change all the national flags into the pride flags.
Like
if you had it mixed, I have no problem.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But
the same thing with Call of Duty.
Putting it straight to, I'm like, you know what? No, again, I'm annoyed.
That's the thing. I don't care, right? I really don't care in terms of how you make your game, right? But when you start to push it down my throat, I have an issue with that. For example, let me go back to Apex, right? Two examples. I remember when this whole Black Lives Matter thing was going on. When you log in Apex, boom, Black Lives Matter. I don't want to hear about that when I log in a game. I don't want to hear about that. I like FPS, I come to shoot people. It's something bad.
Hey, but that's what the game is about. That is what you come to do. You come to do anything else.
Yeah, I come to escape reality.
Everybody rode the train. But the big joke is the main woman who was the head of that movement.
Big scammer.
By a house in a white neighborhood.
Yeah, I know all that. Because I was so mad when I had debates with that at that point in time, and then I logged in and said, let me escape out of the reality for a little bit, because that's what I just use games for. To escape reality. Jump in, I seen a big Black Lives Matter strippiness. The black box. I'm like, wow. Come on. I don't want it to make games. Like, and our next example. When they had some real Apex had these comics, right? That they just somehow get rid of all of a sudden. And it was sort of so good because that interesting story. Because I was excited to read all the comics. And then they went into, and people had an issue with it. And as usual, the LGBT field is the greatest thing of all time. Start to say, oh, it's homophobia and whatever. But no, it was just annoying. Where it went from very convincing and in-depth story to who want to have sex with who.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is never, I'll say representation, but all right, representation, sure. But every relationship is always a homoerotic relationship. So no, like you say, heteronormative relationship. So I just excluding our whole group for so-called brownie points. And the thing is, the stories wasn't even good. Like the most basic, it's not even basic. It's just far below basic. It's not even good. The story is not even good and interesting or anything like that. And they removed the comics. The comics was so good. I enjoyed every second of them. And now we have no comics anymore. It was so good. So all that represent, watch, yeah, let's say go broke, go woke. Because as soon as I started to go with the sex and stuff, the comics died. Because nobody was interested in it. Nobody was purchasing it because it's not interesting. Simple as that, it's just not interesting. And people need to stop this stupid representation nonsense.
Where was it? There was a meme I saw with that. It said they wanted to know how the tables have turned. In the beginning, it was they wanted the respect, they wanted this, I wanted that. It's like, all right. But then you see as it's coming on the line of what you see all of a sudden you realize it's like they have a gun to you telling you, you have to do this, you have to take this now. I'm like, that's exactly what happened.
That's
from
weird.
wanting a sense of people to accept you, it has now come to a point where you're now threatening people
to accept it.
I'm like, excuse me?
To not feel like people...
You didn't think you would get backlash after this? People have gotten to the point, they accepted you and it was fine. But what happened is that, as with most people, they take an inch, to get them an inch, to take a yard. So when they start to push that yard now, the man on the other side decide, that's it, I'm done. Finish with all that. I have no problems. I respect everybody. I have no problem. But when you see I want to try and force it down my throat, then you're not.
Is that issue? Cause let's say I respect everybody's belief, right? But when you believe you don't like the belief, you have an issue with it. Look, for example, right? LGBTQ community. I just look at it from a scientific standpoint. I like that very weird to me from a scientific standpoint. And people will say, homophobic or whatnot. I really don't care. I just find it weird. That's all I'm saying. But you're saying me believing whatever I believe in, I shouldn't believe in, I must believe in what you believe in. That my belief is bigger than it killing people for some reason. Just my words killing people. To me, that's not honesty at all. Zero honesty. especially in your words cause violence. When it comes to that, I have a very, very, very big issue with that. Your words cause violence. Violence is violence. Don't come and tell me about the word is violence.
Just tell them, my words cause violence. You want me to get violent with my words to you right about now?
Yeah. Because I don't like that. A lot of people don't know what real violence is.
They have not met up to Caribbean people, because Caribbean people will tell them straight off,
Yeah, I literally don't care. I don't care.
It's gonna start your shit.
To me, I would say,
because the thing about it is everybody would have been living life normal, but they have pushed this thing to the point now where it has gone. Once it started to happen in the TV shows, you realize they know that they're already preparing the next generation. Because they say
to go further.
If you want to have something acceptable, put it in the TV shows, because the children are basically living in front of the TV. Put it in the video games. Why? Because the children are in front of the video game. You put things in front of them, so they're taking it at such a young age. By the time they grow up, you miss.
Well, let's still talking.
Not much.
Until this video done.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking.
I was right or was I wrong?
I can't remember what you talking about.
The Red Ranger.
I don't know. Yeah, you told her to fight that. Like,
So from where I'm sitting, I think the future of Asian American leadership looks like telling our own stories in community with other people who haven't had their stories told yet.
Yes. Just from seeing sort of the agitation within our own communities, I think just like with movements and like being tired of staying silent. I think that's part of going back to also that model minority myth of like, I'm gonna mind my business, I'm just gonna do my thing, and you guys fight it out over there. I think that like seeing the passion kind of jump out is very beautiful to witness. And so hopefully I think that the future, at least that I envision, is one where we can maybe see more humanity in each other. I think that as an Asian American, a lot of how I've viewed myself has been through a lens of self-hatred and shame. With the moment that we're in right now, even this conversation that we've been able to have, I think that the difference that I hopefully feel is that we're not gonna sit on the sidelines and be like, that's not my business. I think now we're ready to be like, that is my business, and I'm gonna be vocal about it. So I don't know what that looks like in the future, but I think that my hope is that it looks more like community care.
White children in this country grew up with the mentality, I can be president one day. We didn't have that. and we're just now like, oh, could it be us? What I hear a lot in your reasons for being Republican or thinking the way you do is that you don't want to be seen as a victim. I see that, I hear that very loud and clear. And it's rooted in kind of that logic that pits you against yourself. That you constantly walk around with this idea, I'm not a victim. But it doesn't just end with you. We are people that come from community. One of the things, even though we are not a monolith, a lot of our cultures can unite in the fact that we believe in community. And I know when people,
Oh, but when my boy in the back, they say it, I start to cringe and turn their head like, what? Having a family bonding together, what?
Remember.
But now you saying it now, it's all right. Come on.
It's a purple-haired Asian woman. That's all you have to know.
Men are trash.
That's all you need to know.
That's so
basically yes.
That's so strange. When he said it, all they want to kill him, man. All they want to kill him at Vincent back there. Now you saying the exact same thing you were saying. Green hair, I'm a green hair, green shirt, dicking him out. You're green all of a sudden. You probably just right pirate then. He trying to sleep with she.
I think he's trying to get the ship on south. Sure.
When we talk as passionately as we do, it sounds like we're complaining to some people, but we have seen progress and we know it's possible. So yes, we are hopeful that our children can even have it better than us.
To your point, you said, you feel like in some situations I'm pitted against myself. You're 100% right. I am my #1 competition. And I'm going to win because I am the representation.
I don't doubt that you're going to win.
The conversation about representation, I got to see somebody who looks like me in order for me to believe. No, I am that guy. I am going to
everybody has your vote.
No, that's how it works, you dummy. You don't need That like how people was like Black Panther. I feel like use Black Panther as an example. Everybody think, representation or whatever, right?
God, that was the token example.
That's true. Yeah, that was the worst one.
Right, you see?
If you're white, don't want to watch the movie. I'm like, what?
That's it.
People can't be fans for show anymore.
Why do I need that to make me feel better? It's not even something. I wouldn't say it's not real something. It's a fake. It's a fake story. It's fiction. Why must
Black excellence is fake? Black excellence doesn't happen.
No, but then the joke about it is it also shows us exactly.
Oh, now it's funny to laugh at fictional Black excellence.
Go ahead, pirate. Ignore he.
If you remember how it normally goes, you always should. Because when I look at it, they say Wakanda was an African nation within Africa itself that became prosperous and what was happening. They secluded themselves from everybody. Instead, or most people say, okay, since you had, you'd say, oh, let me help my other brothers and sisters around me. What did they do? They enclosed themselves away from everybody else, kept all the wealth and prosperity towards themselves, and left the rest of everybody else to suffer.
Fire for them.
Just like that.
So that, and that's the way I find the representation weird.
Well, that's what has happened. As soon as one get a little bit of money, they just discount the entire rest of the back to them, and then it's only pull them up and be them for anything else. That's all it's good.
Excellent.
Put myself there, right? Like that like I'm gonna be that representation. I'm that representation every day.
Guess what, guys? We were all that representation today. So thank you.
I don't know about all that.
Yes.
I don't know about all
nice
that.
Ali
the
coming
passionate
clutch.
Responses. You're gonna get a bunch of us in the room together. We're not gonna agree. That's just how it is.
Yes.
Appreciate it, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, it was just sad.
It was definitely a ride, you know, with some ups and some lows.
Fun, interesting, kind of spicy.
I was surprised by the Stop Asian hate. Quite a few people who were like, it's not a thing.
I did disagree with almost everything that they said. I also have found it hard to believe that people think that Black Lives Matter is looked at in some way as fake.
I have zero regrets.
A lot of Asians in the community actually support Trump because he promotes meritocracy.
Love Donald Trump.
Meritocracy. Can I say that again?
He's from Queens, I'm from Staten Island.
Meritocracy.
We're basically paisans.
I think the term Asian Americans should be erased.
Asian Americans are awesome.
Closing thought on Asian American as a term. It is as creative, open, and complicated as we decide to make it. And we can.
I don't know his name.
Sir.
You would learn somebody's name instead of just, assign, appropriating our culture to them. Bigot.
Hey, that's what they do.
That's a good one. Oh, good. All right. I could cut that off here, but you could talk what you want now. Oh gosh. But them